Let me ask you something. When did you stop recognizing yourself? Like, when did your voice start to shake when you spoke? When did you begin to second guess what you used to feel so normal to you? And was it after the third time you made a joke about your appearance, about the fifth time he dismissed your ideas with a smirk? Or maybe it was after he said something so cruel you stared at the wall in silence, wondering if you were overreacting. Let me stop you right there. Let me stop you right there. You're not overreacting. You're not too sensitive. And you're not imagining it. What you're dealing with, what you're experiencing is the long-term erosion of your identity through a pattern of verbal insults, psychological control. Is what we call it, what it is, emotional abuse, pain, plain and simple. You've been in survival mode, dodging insults, managing his moods, trying not to trigger the next wave of sarcasm, criticism, and dismissal, and you've been doing it while pretending everything is fine. Maybe that's to protect the kids. Maybe it's because your friends wouldn't understand. Maybe it's because you've been conditioned to believe that this is the best you'll ever get. But the truth inside of this is not the life you were made for. This is not the relationship that you deserve. And you're not going to stay stuck in this pit any longer. Because you see, insults in a narcissistic relationship are rarely loud at first. They're not always screaming or name calling. Oftentimes they just sound like dry jokes, backhanded compliments, like quiet put downs, passive aggressive, masked as feedback to you. It might look at a couple different ways, like, wow, you're really wearing that today? Like, most women your age don't let themselves go like this. You should be grateful that I'm still here. Gosh, you're so emotional. No wonder no one else can handle you. Each one feels like a jab, like a small on the surface, but it cuts deep underneath the skin. And over time, you start doing the damage yourself. This is the wild part. You start editing yourself, editing your personality. You stop dressing the way you like. You quit laughing too loud. You quiet your opinions and your emotions because you want to, not because you're there and you're like, yes, let's do that. You've been just taught it's safer. That's how this dynamic works. It's not overnight. It's subtle. But day after day, insult after insult, until your nervous system is trained to anticipate pain instead of peace. And that right there is what we call the pit. The pit where you feel stuck in because you don't know how to relax. You don't know who you are anymore. You're exhausted, but you're still trying harder. You think that maybe, just if you're good enough, the insults might stop. If you get to the place that he wants you to be, then they'll stop. But they won't. Not because you're not enough, but because he needs you to feel small in order for him to feel big. That's the truth that you've been avoiding, that you don't want to see, you don't want to face. It's time to face it, head on. Now, I'm not here to throw shame at you. I'm here to give you the tools to climb out. Because here's the good news about it. Awareness is the first rung in the ladder. Now, you see the pattern now. You're starting to understand that this isn't healthy. This isn't how relationships just are. That you're not crazy for wanting to feel safe, respected, loved in your own home. So what do you do about it now? We have to shift from survival to strategy. The first step is just recognizing the insult for what it is. It's not a joke. It's not just the way he talks. It's not just your job to toughen up because it feels like this gut punch. It's because it was meant to be a gut punch. Call it what it is. Don't sugarcoat it. Step 2 is catch the conditioning. Now, what do I mean by that? Like, think about the ways you've been adjusting yourself to avoid being insulted. Think about the times you didn't share your idea, you didn't wear what you like, you didn't speak up just to keep the peace. These aren't preferences, they're survival tactics, the way that he's conditioning you. And your brain has learned them like muscle memory. Your job now is to interrupt that pattern. If you don't, you'll continue doing the same thing over and over. It might mean you need to speak up even if your voice shakes. It might mean wearing what you like even if you don't think he'll approve. It's saying different things of like, hey, that wasn't funny when he drops another cruel joke. No, I'm not saying it's going to feel easier, that it's going to be easy, but you've been trained to expect the backlash. Like, if you want to climb, you have to start reclaiming your voice. If you want to rise up, even if it trembles, even if it pisses him off, even if it feels like it's the scariest thing in the world, you have to speak up for you. A third thing inside of this, you need to track the cycle. Like, you already know how this goes, right? He insults you, you react, he gaslights, you blame yourself, then he forgives you, throws you a breadcrumb of affection, then it starts all over again. That's not love, that's just conditioning. That's the cycle here. And once you see the cycle, you can stop choosing to spin in it. Start journaling what he says. Write down how that made you feel. Document the moments that leave yourself questioning you. Because here's what's going to happen. Your body is going to scream at you to keep the peace. But your soul is going to whisper, there's more than this. You're not here to be used and abused. I'm here to remind you to listen to that whisper. The whisper is your intuition, your strength, your identity calling you home. The climb out of this isn't a leap. It's a series of small decisions to believe your gut, to trust yourself, to honor your voice, to start expecting more from the people who claim to love you and continue to abuse you. And maybe you're not ready to leave today. That's okay. But what you can do is stop making excuses for abuse. Stop minimizing the damage. Stop letting someone else's brokenness define your worth and your value. You're not here to be someone else's emotional punching bag, 'cause that's what he's been doing. You're here to rise, to grow, and develop. And now that you've named it, and yes, we're calling it what it is, verbal and emotional abuse and manipulation, what comes next is rebuilding. Rebuilding doesn't always start with leaving. It starts with strengthening. Strengthening your boundaries, strengthening your mindset, processing the triggers, dealing with the emotions, breaking the trauma bond, strengthening your belief in your own worth, even if right now it feels like it's completely shattered, completely gone. Because here's what most people don't understand about this certain type of abuse. It doesn't just tear you down, it reprograms you. You spent months or years being insulted by someone you trusted, and you stopped trusting yourself. You stopped believing your gut. You stopped feeling like your voice even mattered. And you start living on defense, constantly anticipating the next jab. That's what survival mode does. I want to help you make this shift to intentional mode, not just being stuck in survival. The place where you're no longer reacting, but you're learning how to rebuild. And that starts by challenging the lies that he's planted in your head, the subconscious programming. Like, you've heard it all. You're too sensitive. No one else would ever want you. I can't believe you act this way. Like, you're impossible to live with. I don't see how anyone else can deal with you. You're not good enough. Like, all of these things, verbal or subliminal, like, will come in here. Every insult thrown at you was a projection of his own insecurity. Every time he mocked your feelings, it was because he was terrified of facing his own. And every time he insulted your body, your mind, your heart, it was because your strength threatened his control. And now you get to start taking back your power. Step one in that recovery process, start rewiring your self-talk. You've internalized his voice for too long. It's time to replace that. So when you hear the old tape playing in your head, I'm not good enough, maybe I deserve that, I'm probably overreacting, you have to stop. You have to interrupt it and be like, wait a second. That's not my voice, that's his. And I'm done letting it run my life. Repetition is how he broke you down. Repetition is how you build yourself back up. Repetition is the baseline for confidence. People are like, I don't know how to get confidence. It comes with repetition. You confident with tying your shoe? Yeah. Why? Because you've done it so many times. You repeated the process so many times. You're like, hey, I got this. I can tie my shoe. Like, this piece of repetition breeds confidence. It's not about you just transitioning and becoming someone different. It's about you returning to who you were before the insults taught you to be less than, taught you to shrink. When you're in a narcissistic relationship, insults don't just attack your character, they isolate you from connection. They convince you that your friends think that you're a burden. They make you embarrassed to talk to your family about the truth, to actually share, this is what's going on. They make you feel like you're the problem, so you don't reach out. And you isolate, you don't heal. Isolation is part of the plan, because if you're isolated, the only person you go to is him. Because as long as he has the loudest voice in your life, he gets to control the entire narrative. That's why connection is one of the greatest weapons that you can use to fight back, to get connected to other people. You don't have to announce everything. You don't have to expose him to the world. But you do need to bring yourself into an area of 1 to 2 people that are in your corner that can remind you, this isn't normal. This isn't okay. And you're not crazy. There may be a coach, a community, a trusted friend who's seen the signs along the way and has been quietly waiting for you to open up. Whoever it is, lean in. Because you're not meant to rebuild in isolation. Every single person that comes and works with us in Raw Motivation comes into a couple different areas. So if one piece of having community, connecting with people, and I ask for a commitment that they will stay connected in the community or stay connected to me while they go through the challenges. Because I know 100% if a person that we work with inside of one of our challenges disappears, they don't show up to a call, they stop doing the work, if they disappear and isolate, they're done. We won't get them back. We won't be able to help them because they will literally go back to the pit of shit that they've been in, the shame and the guilt. All the different things will come crashing down because they know what it's been like for a couple moments on the outside, what it's been like to rebuild their strength, and they go right back to it because they isolate. It's almost impossible to get people out of it. If you don't have that kind of support, let me be that voice in your ear for you now. Like, you need to understand this. You are not weak for staying. You're strong for surviving. You're not broken. You're learning how to become a different person. But we have to break this cycle. Because if we don't, here's what happens. You start to normalize it. You start to normalize the disrespect. You start to believe that love and pain go hand in hand. You start to repeat the patterns in the future relationships, or worse, teach your kids that this is what love looks like. Like, it has to stop here, not just for you, but for everyone coming after you. You want your children to know what a safe, kind, empowering relationship looks like? You have to lead the way. It starts with you refusing to tolerate one more insult, not one more dig, not one more eye roll, sarcastic jab, backhanded compliment that sends you spiraling. You have to lead this way in front of your kids. So many times people get to the place and they're like, well, I need to help my kids. I need to help fix my kids because of all the toxicity they've been around. No, you need to heal you, because out of your healing comes your own kids' redemption. You can't heal your kids pouring from an empty glass. And you're like, why? I'm pouring into my kids. No, you're not, because you don't have anything poured into you. Like, you have to understand, you've been down this road before. You know where it leads. It doesn't get better on its own. The cycle just continues over and over. So this is the next part. We have to start prepping for the next level, the emotional strategy. Because I'm going to be real with you, when you stop playing small, he's going to notice. He's going to come at you. He's going to attack even more. When you start setting boundaries, lines in the stand, when you stop laughing at the jokes that he hurt you, when you stop apologizing for reacting like a human being, like, he's going to panic and he's going to come back louder. You might hear him say and attack with different things. Like, you're acting different. What's wrong with you? Are you trying to start a fight? What happened to you? That's because his mask is slipping. That's him realizing that you're waking up, which is a good thing. Let him notice. That means you're moving. It doesn't mean that you're broken. It doesn't mean that you're failing at this. It actually means you're starting to win. But you have to be ready for this backlash, because narcissists don't lose control quietly. Like, when his insults stop working, he's going to switch tactics. Maybe guilt, gaslighting, love bombing, shaming you, like whatever it needs to be. Don't fall for it. This is the part where your strength gets tested, but it's also the part where you learn that you're stronger than what you ever knew. Listen, I'm not saying that you have to burn it all down today. I'm not saying you have to leave tomorrow. What I'm saying is this: you don't have to stay quiet anymore. For you, mentally and emotionally, you're still here. You're still working through this. Even if you're untangling finances, custody, logistics, we can work through all of that. But you still have to draw a line for your emotional safety. You still need to be able to say even to yourself, that's not okay. You need to start building a plan, not just for leaving, but for living. Because this isn't just about getting out. It's about you rising and healing. That's what I want you to hear loud and clear. You can be in the relationship. You can be out of the relationship. Doesn't matter. I've seen people that have been out of the relationship 5 years, no contact, and they're still not healed. You can leave, you can heal, you can rebuild, whatever it is. We're looking to help you not just survive the relationship, but to thrive. And the place that you've been sitting in, that pit that you feel in your stomach, that's not permanent. The insults, the shame, the fear of speaking up, all of that has been conditioned to help you play small, to keep you quiet. Your power has been here the entire time. It didn't go anywhere. It's just been buried underneath all of his lies. And now it's time for you to start climbing back. I want you to give you a warning, though. When you rise, he's going to notice. And because the person that he's used to controlling is silencing, shaming, she's waking up. And when she wakes up, everything is going to shift. He'll try to manipulate you in different ways. The things that used to work didn't work. Now he's going to try to switch something up. He'll try to convince you that you're the problem, that you've changed, that he's changed, whatever it might be. Like, if you've changed, it's not the way that he wants you to change. You're no longer the woman who stayed quiet to keep the peace. You're not the one that's apologizing for crying after being insulted. You're not the one who laughs when her heart is breaking just so he won't feel uncomfortable. Like, you start to change and grow and develop you. You change because you're remembering who you are. And that's the part that's his worst nightmare. When you start to say by control and power. And oftentimes he'll ramp it up. That's common. He'll start to test your limits, try to bait you into getting old reactions, try to rage out. And when that doesn't work, he might switch tactics again. Fake apologies, promises, I'm going to do better, sudden kindness, like a breadcrumb of hope, just long enough to keep you hooked. That's when you need clarity the most. So you can cut through the fog that he's laying out. Because growth doesn't mean that you don't miss him. Growth means you don't go back when you miss who he pretended to be. You're going to have days where you doubt yourself. You need to ask. And you'll find yourself asking, like, was it really that bad? Maybe I'm being too harsh. Should I give him one more try? Maybe I should have given a little bit more time. That's not you. That's the trauma talking. That's the echoes of the trauma bond of someone else's voice trying to make sure you forget how far you've come, how far you've grown. And when those thoughts come, you have to ground yourself in truth. What are the facts of the situation? You remind yourself every time he made you feel small, every time you swallowed your voice, every time you wanted to leave and you talked yourself out of it, every time he continued to abuse and manipulate and gaslight you, you don't go back to that. Not now. You're building something new, something powerful, something yours, no matter how difficult it feels. Because it has to start with a decision of no more minimizing, no more excusing, no more tolerating disrespect because he had a rough childhood or doesn't know any better. You're not responsible for his healing. You're responsible for yours, for your freedom. And if you made it this far, if you've gotten to this point in the video, like you've already proven that you're stronger than what he's tried to break you. So what about now? Now you make a plan. Not just to leave, but to grow and develop, to heal. You stop surviving day to day and start designing a future where you're emotionally, mentally, spiritually, like financially untouchable. You stop explaining yourself to people who committed to misunderstanding you over and over and over again. You stop shrinking to have them be comfortable and you start rising. But you don't have to do this alone. Remember I said in isolation, people don't heal. You're not supposed to do it alone. This kind of healing isn't about just reading posts, watching more content. It's about getting in the room with someone who can help you put back the pieces and also help you know that you're not alone. That's the space that I want for you. A space where you're seen, a process that's structured, a path that leads to freedom, not more confusion. So if you're ready to take the first real step, if you're tired of guessing your way out, then here's the next move. Book a free clarity call at rawmotivations.com/breakthrough. Let's have a conversation. No pressure, no shame, no fluff. Working through the facts of the situation. A straight up conversation about where you are, what you've been going through, what it's going to take to reclaim your voice, your peace, your life. You don't have to prove anything to me. You've already proven more than enough by surviving what you've already been through. Now it's time to level up and grow and develop you. Let's help you heal, grow and develop so you can actually be free. Because the life you want, the woman that you used to be, the confidence that you used to have, the peace that you haven't felt in years, it's still there. It's waiting on the other side of the decision that you make next. Let's make that the one thing that changes everything in your world. So book a free clarity call at rawmotivations.com/breakthrough, and we'll talk soon. You left him. You blocked the number. You deleted the photos. You walked away from the chaos. But if you're really honest, he still lives in your head. You still shrink when someone raises their voice. You still second guess every decision. You still hear his words spoken in your own voice now. That's not healing. That's just surviving on autopilot. No one's told you that this part of the whole journey will be the hardest. Not the leaving, but the aftermath is one of the most difficult pieces. Like where you're out of the relationship, but you're still trapped in the middle of all the damage, in the middle of all the confusion. That's why I created the Reclaim Workshop. It's a one-day trauma-informed workshop for women who've survived narcissistic abuse but haven't yet fully felt free. We're going to meet in Orlando, Florida, virtually or in person, in July 12th. And in that room, we'll do what the relationship never allowed you to do. We'll tell the truth. We'll break the cycle. And we'll come back home to you. Click on the link. Don't let the ghost of a man control the woman that you're actually becoming now.